If you've looked into Redstone at all, there's a good chance you've seen something about logic gates. They come from computer science and can help you control what outputs you get based on some combination of inputs. They most often take in two input signals and output one, although many logic gates have rules in place for three or more. These input and output signals have two states, on and off, or 0 and 1, so they can be called binary. I won't be talking about the binary counting system or encoding and decoding information in this video, though. That's for another time. Today's all about logic gates, how they act, how to make them, and how they can be combined. First up are what I consider the big three of logic gates, the AND, OR, and NOT gates. If you don't remember any of the other guys, I'd say these three are the ones you should remember since they're easy to understand, commonly used, and can be used in combination to recreate any of the others. NOT gates, also called inverters, are really simple. They're one of the only logic gates to take in a single input, and whatever that input is, they output the opposite. They turn off into on and on into off. They're also really easy to make in Minecraft, too. Just put down a redstone torch. Powering the block it's attached to will be your input, and any other side of the torch can be your output. OR gates are up next. They take in at least two inputs and turn on their output if any of their inputs are turned on. They're also really easy to make in Minecraft because you just need redstone wires. Put down a few lines, call one the output, and you have a basic OR gate. This does have the risk of allowing different inputs to mess with stuff on the other inputs, though, so it may be a good idea to make them only interact in one direction, making use of repeaters or non-conductive blocks. Last up for the big three is the AND gate. These things also take in at least two inputs and output a signal only if all of their inputs are turned on. To build one, it's common to use redstone torches to invert your inputs, string them together into an AND gate, and use another redstone torch on the output to invert it back. This is a quick and easy way to build an AND gate, but it also serves as a good introduction to another idea from computer science, De Morgan's laws. These are named after a British mathematician, and basically just say that you can turn an OR gate into an AND gate by inverting the inputs and output, and vice versa. These laws can be helpful on occasion, but I mostly just wanted to bring them up because I feel like this is a great way to show it off. NOR gates, or not OR gates, are exactly what they sound like. You put a NOT gate on the output of an OR gate. These only output when all their inputs are turned off. Similarly, NAND gates stand for not AND gates. Pop a NOT gate on the end of an AND gate. These will output a signal as long as there is an input that's not currently turned on. Fun fact, NOR and NAND gates are sometimes called universal logic gates because using only NOR gates or only NAND gates, you can recreate every other logic gate listed in this video. I wouldn't recommend doing this in Minecraft, though, because most often what you get is something that is more expensive in terms of resources and also slower in terms of time than just using other logic gates. So it's fun, but not super practical in terms of the game. XOR gates are a little more complicated, but I'd say they're more useful as well. XOR stands for exclusive OR, and the output of an XOR gate only turns on if exactly one input is on. If more than one input is on, the output turns back off. We also have an inverted version of this one, the XNOR gate. These can be made by throwing a NOT gate on the output of an XOR gate, and will output a signal if the inputs are the same. Because of this, it gets the fancy nickname of the equivalence gate. I think it would be nice if more logic gates got fancy nicknames personally, but as of now, it's mostly just the equivalence gate and the inverter for the NOT gate. Using just these logic gates, you can get most of the functionality you need, really. For more niche situations where any one of these won't work on their own, you can combine them in some way to get a different truth table. As an example, take a look at this combination lock. We want it to output a signal when the correct combination is put in. For this example, we'll say we want levers A and C to be pulled and lever B to stay raised. For this combination, the truth table would look like this. As expected, the only output turned on is the one where A is on, B is off, and C is on. Also, for this example, it's pretty easy to see that a good combination of gates would be to put B through a NOT gate, then put A, not B, and C into an AND gate to check if all three of those are on. That way, when any of the levers don't match the expected state, the AND gate will see that and will turn off. It won't output a signal, because that's how AND gates work. That's all I've got for logic gates for now. If I start going on anything else, A, it's probably a bit out of scope for this video, and B, they'll get longer than I'm used to, and I already am slow at editing, so we don't need that. Hopefully, if you didn't understand logic gates or they didn't make sense, I have help with that, at least a little. My last example with the combination lock was a pretty simple one to come to a working system, but for more complicated truth tables, a conclusion can be more difficult to come to. There are ways to work through it though, like with K-maps. We'll say, if this video gets 5 likes, I'll explain what a K-map is and how to use it. I might even throw in a bonus lesson in Boolean algebra if anyone would actually want to watch that. But otherwise, have fun doing some Redstone.